benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the holiday sales event is now underway with unbelievably low interest rates and huge discounts on both our new and pre-owned inventory. Right now, we're offering 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. These are the absolute biggest discounts of the year. You heard right, 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. So please stop on in or check us out online at CoppelCars.com. All deals with approved credit must trade in Costco.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Having diabetes doesn't have to ruin your new year. Join a Nebraska-supported program like Living Well with Diabetes. You'll learn how to manage your symptoms, feel more confident, and reduce stress about your diagnosis. Search Nebraska Living Well with Diabetes and click on the DHHS Healthy Living Programs page to learn more. Paid for by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese Beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
Outside is where winter adventure unfolds. On frozen lakes, icy landscapes, and snow-covered slopes. Feeling the cold air rush by as you race downhill. The freedom of gliding with ease and the warmth of being together. From epic sled rides to the fun of ice fishing, it's all right here beneath Nebraska skies. Start your winter adventure at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Associations and this station.
League One Volleyball is bringing the action to Omaha with Omaha's first serve on January 24th at 7 p.m. Central Time at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Witness history in the making as Love Omaha Volleyball takes on Love Madison in the team's inaugural home match. Be there to watch Olympic teammates Jordan Larson and Lauren Carlini go head-to-head in a battle of the world's best. Visit lovboma.com for tickets starting at $31. Volleyball is the next major league.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NEBCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
New year, same time, same host. Welcome in On the Block 2025 starts now. Looking forward to being here with you for the next 365 days, minus a few weekends, holidays, and whatnot. But regardless, we are here, we will be here, and we appreciate you being here. I'm Austin Orman, joined by my partner on the stream, Strick. Feels like a Monday. It's a Thursday. How you feeling, partner?
It does feel like a Monday, but it is a Thursday, and you know what that starts with on Thirsty Thursday. Stricky's a little disappointing. He's not going to be in the building with his boy Austin, but that is a-okay because I will see you next week in the building, barring any weather situations that's coming up this weekend. It looks like for
we're supposed
Nebraska.
to get 4 inches of snow on Sunday, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? So that's okay. That's okay. It's part of that. It's that time, normally happens around that January, February time frame in Nebraska. It looks like it's supposed to come down pretty strong on us, but that's okay because Thirsty Thursday brings Thirsty Thursday topic pong. TTP. TTTP.
Triple TP.
And that's what's going, triple TP. That's what's going down today. We thank the Blockheads for being with us now for 2 years. Those who have come on, the newcomers, those that have been with us in the rat race of sports and life and situations and circumstances and all of those things we've gone through. It's a new year. 2025 is here, and we are here to serve you on the block. We appreciate y'all.
That we do. We also appreciate Nebco. They're the title sponsor of our show. Nebco has been a Nebraska company in its 4th generation since 1908. Family-owned and operated business, 1,200 employees and 26 companies throughout Nebraska. Nebco's operations span the state and supply the construction industry with the materials needed to construct buildings, streets, and highways. Check them out, nebcoinc.com. What you got there, Stricky?
Cedars, we love Cedars. Cedars does wonderful work there in Lincoln, Nebraska. We always have the opportunity to go out there and serve. I just happen to be representing them today. And shout out to Cedars and all the wonderful work they do. They are here for the kids and here for the family. So we love y'all, Cedars, as well. I'm just representing y'all today, just showing love. Yeah,
that's what Stricky does. It's all love. Stricky, we know you love topic pong. Where are you leading us first? What you got?
Well, yeah. There's something I mentioned that I know some of y'all looked at Stricky and you thought, you guys think that I be wearing the tinfoil hat and I'm Looney Tunes and all of that sometimes, but I have a reason for being that way. Here's the thing about it. I mentioned that the college football playoff structure was a little shaky. It was a little shaky. It didn't come off well for me, and it looks as if it's playing out that way. Here is why. We don't know yet the final outcome because shout out to the loved ones, those who had experienced loss down in New Orleans. Our condolences to those and those families. They're down there to experience just love, light, have a great time. Some of them may not even been going to the game. They just happen to be there for the New Year celebration and just enjoying time. Bourbon Street is a very active spot and block. And so we saw what happened there. The same goes. We thank God that it wasn't a serious situation that happened out in New York. Not New York. Out in Vegas, I believe, with the the Cybertruck situation. But we're just glad. We know that these types of things happen. It's unfortunate, but we're definitely giving our condolences to the families that have lost it. But that's the only scenario that has not played out yet, Austin. Because right now, as it looks as if you don't want to be the one that had the bye week.
No,
that's the way it's looking right now, and that's what I'm going to talk about because I believe that it was an exposure, and I love that it happened the way that it happened. Because I think that the college football playoff committee in some form or fashion needs to address it. Then the question becomes, Austin, and this is a secondary question. The secondary question to that becomes this. Would you prefer to play on the first day? Is it something about playing at home, pulling in that energy, not having that week off? Yes, I mean, there's some benefits to it. But then there's not really benefit to it ultimately, other than the fact that you have a chance to heal, you have to get a chance to get your body right and all of that. But you still don't really know who you're playing. So it's not like you have 2 weeks to prepare. You still really only have that short window of preparation for whoever that team is. And that could be a whole different preparation. And you don't want to go in trying to prepare for 2 teams. You just kind of want to allow it to play off, just kind of do stuff to keep yourself fresh, stay in the weight room, do things to tighten up a few things, maybe work on some offensive schemes and different things like that. But you really don't get a chance to focus on it. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed as well. But about the seeding situation, I talked about possibly, and we would love your thoughts on it, 402-464-5685 on the text line as well as the stream, because I said that I thought that the highest ranked team should have the benefit of picking who their matchup is, and it works itself down. Because I can tell you this, you stated it. You've always talked about Ohio State being that one. They showed themselves and proved themselves in this last game. It's still not over yet, but they have shown and proved in the first two games that they are who they say they are, and believe that they are. But I guarantee you that Oregon wouldn't want it to see that matchup until later in the process of this whole thing. They had a problem with the revenge factor, losing up in Autzen Stadium. And they came out and beat the brakes off of Oregon in this game. I mean, it didn't even look like, Oregon was 13-0. They looked like they was just a podunk team that just showed up and was the beneficiary of a butt whipping. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
What's your thought?
There's a lot there, Strick. I think when we look at rest
versus... say too much, Austin?
No. You think just
lay the groundwork for that?
You did. There's a very firm foundation. It looks like it was laid by Nebco is what it looks like, Stricky. That's what it feels like. Very firm foundation there. Let's dive into rest versus rust first, because you saw Arizona State off a bye get down pretty big. They were able to make a game of it. You see Boise State get down by 2 possessions, made a game of it. And then you saw Ohio State go
31 to Dookie.
Nothing. So Oregon, the team coming off a bye, didn't have anything going till the closing seconds of the first half. I am always so fascinated by this discussion because I think that a lot of the discussion, the argumentation around it comes after the fact instead of before the fact. You see what happens in the game, and then you try to justify it, right? Because we saw this with, say, the Dodgers and the Padres, right? The Dodgers had the series off. They got the bye. Padres had to play. Padres win, Padres get hot. Oh, are the Dodgers too rusty? Whatever. I think there are a lot of teams that benefit from rest. Veteran teams, older teams, right, that have been around the block, that know how to handle the moment, handle the layoff. And teams,
you said they've been on the block? They've been on the block? Or around the okay, I'm sorry.
Around the block. Yes. Okay. And teams that are kind of scuffling, that are in a tailspin at the end of the year, that get into the playoffs but need a reset. Those are teams that might be able to take that time, those few weeks, and focus on themselves, right? That is really what I think the benefit of these practices are, whether you're playing in a bowl in mid-December or the college football playoff. The first chunk of those practices that you're allowed are about you. You're not worried about an opponent until game week, maybe a little bit before because you have a little bit of extra time. But a team like Oregon, not knowing who its first-round opponent was going to be, I don't think they cared. Right? Maybe they had a guess one way or the other how they thought the game was going to go. So maybe they worked behind the scenes to scout Ohio State ahead of time more than Tennessee. But really, a team like Oregon is not necessarily one that needs rest. It is a well-oiled machine that wants to keep on schedule, keep humming, keep clicking. Now, will they turn down rest? Absolutely not. Everyone's banged up. Everyone is hurt at the end of the year. So having some time to come back, to get healthy, to get your mind right, never a bad thing. But then it looks really bad when you come out and you lay an egg. On the flip side, we saw Texas lose guys due to injury. We saw Notre Dame get banged up due to injury in the first round, even though they won. Texas, skated by. They were up big. Arizona State made a game of it. So we need to find a way to give the top seeds, however many we end up deciding, the benefit of both rest and rust. That's why I think 12 was too much. Right, because now we have the rest versus rust debate all over again. And more so than that, the bigger advantage to me would be a home field game. We saw all the favorites win. Yeah. We saw incredible home environments in the 4 first-round playoff games. That, to me, would be the best way to solve all of this. Give the top 4 seeds the week off, but then they get a home game the next week as well. The Bulls would hate it, right? It's been a part of college football for so long. But I think even a bigger advantage than exactly, it's the moolah. Even a bigger advantage of rest or knocking rust off, the biggest advantage we saw was home field advantage. This game in the Rose Bowl probably isn't a 31-0 game in Eugene. I feel confident saying that. Arizona State, maybe they still get down, but imagine that home crowd rocking as they're making their comeback instead of a pretty neutral 50-50 split. Imagine Penn State having to go up to the blue turf in Boise, right? Maybe Boise makes one more play or avoids one more play. I don't know. I like that the top 4 seeds get that time to rest and recover. They needed it at the end of the long season, but we can have the best of both worlds by giving them a home game too to help alleviate some of the burden of not playing for that extra week and not having that chance to get back into game environment, game speed.
Yeah, and lastly, before we move on to your topic, your first topic is what you just said. I agree with you because they would still be able to get that rest time. They would push it back so it would be another couple of weeks. They would also have the benefit of preparation against the team that they know that's coming into their home stadium. And that would also be something that I think could be a benefit to them, getting the rest and also still getting the opportunity to play the game. So, yeah, but on their home turf. Yeah.
Yes. And then, of course, we'll look at seeding as well because conference champions might not get seeds 1, 2, 3, and 4. You know, we might go away from if you win a conference or a highest ranked group of 5 conference champion like Boise. I think that auto bid is probably going away as early as next year. So that's going to be interesting to monitor how the committee does that. For me, Stricky, just a very brief one before we ping pong it right back to you. A brief review of our Twitter polls from a couple days ago. On New Year's Eve, we asked people to chime in their thoughts on Nebraska football's defensive and offensive MVPs for the 2024 season. 90% of people voted Ty Robinson as Nebraska football's defensive MVP. Again, I think 7 sacks and 13 tackles for loss for him all in the year. Incredible year for Ty Robinson. Best numbers of his career, best impact of his career. Got 1 vote for Isaac Gifford and another vote for someone else, but they didn't leave a comment. So big blowout for Ty Robinson. I think that's kind of where you and I both landed during that segment. Offensively, it was a much more even split. Dylan Raiola does end up being our people's, our blockheads' offensive MVP for Nebraska football with 47% of the vote. He had 1 vote for Jamal Banks. Someone left a comment and said he was Nebraska's offensive MVP. But it was pretty evenly split for second and third between Emmett Johnson and Ja'Cory Barney Jr. Blockhead said Emmett Johnson would be their second choice for Nebraska football MVP, and then Ja'Cory Barney in third. What do you make of that breakdown for the offensive MVP?
Yeah, I think I agree with it. And I think I said Emmett Johnson, you said Ja'Cory Barney. So that's that 50-50 split because we are, 2 to 1. That's the situation. I think it played out the way that I figured it would.
So yeah, interesting numbers there. Again, new year. Don't forget we have a Twitter account at OnTheBlock937 on Twitter. We're posting the show lineup every day. We'll get links out to you if you needed other random Twitter polls that we do at OnTheBlock937. Give it a follow. Back to you, Stricky. What's your next topic for us?
Yeah. This has been something that's kind of been on my mind a little bit. I would love your thoughts as well. 402-464-5685. I think we'll try to leave at least a little bit of time to get to your text if you happen to chime in on the discussion. But I will say that I have a question of who has the most power in today's sports realm. Is it the college players or is it the pro players? And the reason I say that is there's a unique situation that's happened up in Sacramento. Coach of the year, Mike Brown, he is released. There's speculation that it had to be some internal things that were going on. We don't know. We don't know what the full details are. The team is struggling a little bit. They find themselves in the 12th position. There's a benefit to being in that 12th position for them because of by way of trade of Kevin Herter, that they if they are 12 or below, they retain their 1 through 12 pick. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be a determination as to what moves they're going to make at that point, whether they trade away De'Aaron Fox, maybe even Sabonis, and begin afresh, allowing themselves to make sure that they retain and get some new blood in there by way of that draft pick, and then start with like Keegan Murray and those guys, some of their younger players, and start afresh. So we don't know how that's going to play out. We've seen what happened with James Harden. We've seen what happened with Kevin Durant, and we can just continue to go down the line. And it happens in football too, where
Devontae
Hopkins, Adams, all those guys have made decisions that led to them to be moved. And so, who has the more power? Is it the college student or is it the pro student? Thoughts?
That is a fascinating question, because I think my gut would tell me right now it's college students, right? With the transfer portal, with NIL, we hear about a lot of demands. I want this, give me this, kind of quid pro quo. You do this for me, I'll come play for you. But I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment, and just because that's what we're talking about, assume that's the answer. Because, Strick, I think we can go back as far as, the decision, right? With LeBron, I'm taking my talents to South Beach, the televised special at the Boys and Girls Club. Then how he leaves Miami to go back to Cleveland, how he leaves Cleveland to go to Los Angeles. You mentioned some of those football ones that are in there. Baseball, I think to a similar sort of degree, right? Juan Soto, that's a guy with a lot of power. Could have signed with the Yankees and said, nope, I'm good. I don't want any drama. We're going to do it. What does he do? Nope, he goes in and gets the largest free agent contract in history. I think it's a little different because we haven't seen college players hold out, Strick, right? We've seen in the pro sports realms just how, I don't say easy it is, because you have to be a superstar to do it. If you're not a superstar and you try to manhandle the organization, say we're doing things my way, it's me or everyone else, cater to me or I'm holding out. It's simple to do, but it's not easy to get to that point. So some organizations say, nope, we're done with it. We're cutting bait or we're trading you, whatever it is. Some organizations hold the line, say, no, you player are in the wrong. You sign the contract, you work for us, you'll abide by the terms of the contract, whatever it is. I guess when I take the step back, I still have to give the nod to professional athletes because of how they can hold out, because of how many times we've seen them force trades that hamper these organizations for a decade down the line, right? In some cases. I think that the pendulum is swinging more toward the middle in college, where it used to be a lot of organizational and coach control and power in the sport. It feels like players have the majority of the power now. I don't think coaches and institutions have lost all of it. I just don't think they're using it because they're scared to use it. They don't want to get sued. Their institution doesn't want to get sued. So they're giving the players maybe a little bit more power than they even have, because the former authorities don't know how to navigate this current world. It's really close, though. It's not exactly the same from college sports to pro sports as I see it. I would still give a little bit of a nod to pro athletes holding a little bit more power. I think the other part that plays into that, Strick, is players' associations, unions in professional sports. College athletes don't have that. So we can break it down to the individual superstar level, holding out, forcing a trade. But don't forget, in the pro sports, players flex their power or lack thereof. Sometimes you have good agreements and bad agreements. But in the collective bargaining agreements, that's something college doesn't have. And that, to me, is a huge point in favor of the power of professional athletes.
Well said. Well said. We might have to get Nate, if you're still listening, Nate Turner, my former Husker. We share the same number in college together, both 21s. But we might have to get Nate on to talk some football. Him being both a professional athlete and also being a college athlete, and Nate coaching as well. I think that might be something, man. Nate, reach out to your boy on Facebook and make sure you share your number. I'll reach out to you, man. We might have to get you on the show to have a discussion about this, being that you've touched all forms of the sport as well, just to get a different perspective. I mean, we can always get Jay Foreman's perspective. Yeah. You know what I mean? We know what Jay's talking about.
He's no 21. It's
What's your last topic, Austin? Talk to me.
All right, Stricky. Last one for me is something that we're going to dive into more for the specific matchup tomorrow. One of the biggest games in recent memory for Nebraska men's basketball. They host UCLA, 1 o'clock tip-off at Pinnacle Bank Arena on Saturday. Did just hear that Will Kyle will indeed be held out of the game, so no homecoming game for the Bellevue West product. But, Strick, I thought it would be interesting with UCLA coming to town to take a look at Nebraska basketball's record against blue blood programs. You don't see many of them at Nebraska or against Nebraska. It won't be any shock to people. The blue blood school that Nebraska has played the most Kansas. Nebraska's played Kansas 146 times in men's basketball, record of 36 and 110. Second most frequently played blue blood or blue blood adjacent, Michigan State. Huskers are 8-24 against the Spartans, 10-13 against Indiana, but the Huskers are on a 4-game win streak. Those are the three that the Huskers see quite a bit of. Then you go outside of the Big 12 and the Big 10 to the ACC and the Pac-12. Obviously, UCLA is now a Big 10 school, so it doesn't exactly feel like it. But Nebraska's played UCLA 5 times. Huskers are 1-4 in those games. Do you remember who UCLA's starting point guard was the last time Nebraska and UCLA played, Stricky?
No, man. I can't say. Who?
Lonzo Ball.
Oh, wow. Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Nebraska and UCLA played in the Wooden Legacy November 25th of 2016. And
that's a great day. You know that. You know that's a great day. November 25th is Stricky's birthday.
Woo! So in 2016, Nebraska took an 11-point L to UCLA. Nebraska's leading scorer in that game, Glenn Watson Jr. He was 10 of 18, 3 of 7 from 3 on his way to 27 points. Ty Webster second in scoring with 19 for the Huskers. They shoot just 29 of 75 from the floor, 6 of 24 from 3, and 7 of 13 from the free throw line. Lonzo Ball was 5 of 9 for 13 points, also had 7 assists. That's the most recent game between these programs. But then, Strick, some other blue bloods. Nebraska 0-1 against North Carolina, 0-1 against Kentucky, and never played my next in line in terms of the beloved Duke Blue Devils. So obviously it's a big game for this year's team, but Strick, you're an alum of the Nebraska men's basketball program. You saw your fair share of Kansas. I'm sure you ran into Indiana, Michigan State somewhere down the line. But what does it mean for the Nebraska men's basketball program to have a different kind of new blue blood come in for a game against Nebraska at Pinnacle Bank Arena?
I think the energy is going to be exciting. It's also alumni night for Nebraska. Hopefully the storm doesn't come early and will allow that to take place. But I think it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, I'm sure, for the Huskers to be able to go down and play in Pauley Pavilion, which is, I used to work out there quite often in the off season. I'd go in and we would play in Pauley and get some runs in also in their, one of their side gyms. Rico Haynes now runs Rico's runs. And those would be as professionals. You would have a group of college players. There would be a few college players that would jump over and they would play with the professional guys, but it would be some great runs. So it'll be nice to be able to see the Huskers, the Big Red machine get down in the Pauley Pavilion. It's like going into like a dungeon. You walk in up top and then you like go down into a pit. And so it'll be pretty fun to watch that happen.
PBA on Saturday, and that's the only game this year. I assume next year the Huskers will head out to what was it? Westwood? The Wizard of Westwood. Pauley Pavilion in Westwood for the Huskers on the road. 1:00 tip-off. We will be down there. At the very least, I will be down there at the game. Make sure you can drop a follow, and then post-game coverage as well right after, thanks to Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, as well as Lincoln Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits. Let's go to break. When we get back, another transfer portal ad for Nebraska football in the wide receiver room. We'll talk briefly about that, but then there's been a lot of transfer wide receivers into the program. Who are the best since the Scott Frost era? Who are the best transfer portal wide receiver additions for the Husker football team? We'll give you the list of names. We want your top 2 or 3. We'll get into that when we get back to On the Block.
Follow Austin Strick and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solution offers fleet services as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions, 2040 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
New year, new you? Barrel's Extreme Body Shaping can help make sure you keep that resolution this time. Our proven system combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition, along with our expert coaching to make sure you're moving forward toward your goals. The next 10-week challenge starts January 11th, but if you enroll now, you can start today and get a head start on those gains for no extra cost. Plus, head to fxblincoln.com and you can save $100. Don't wait. Barrel's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Outside is where winter adventure unfolds. On frozen lakes, icy landscapes, and snow-covered slopes, feeling the cold air rush by as you race downhill. The freedom of gliding with ease and the warmth of being together. From epic sled rides to the fun of ice fishing, it's all right here beneath Nebraska skies. Start your winter adventure at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Associations and this station.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the holiday sales event is now underway with unbelievably low interest rates and huge discounts on both our new and pre-owned inventory. Right now, we're offering 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. These are the absolute biggest discounts of the year. You heard right, 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. So please stop on in or check us out online at koppelcars.com. All deals with approved credit, must trade, and Costco.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a slight chance of snow this morning. Otherwise, we'll see partly sunny skies, the high around 35. Tonight, increasing clouds with a low around 20. And tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies with light winds and a high around 30. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is On the Block on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. CFPQuarterfinals.com. Nebraska football staying active in the transfer portal. Huskers grab another wide receiver commit from the program of Kentucky. And that's where, of course, new wide receivers coach DeKel Shorts comes from. Couple of years experience with the Wildcats, of course, knew Dana Holgerson before that as well. But Strick, another ad for the Huskers. Hardly Gilmore is the young man's name. Decently big body, but here's the interesting thing, Strick. He was young. We don't see in football a lot of reclassifying, but he reclassified up a year, and he played for Kentucky, had double-digit catches for 100 yards. This is an intriguing ad in a number of ways, Strick, but why do we see so much more reclassification in basketball compared to football, do you think?
Well, definitely there's a physical component to it, right? It takes a little bit more time to make adjustments usually in the reclassification, unless you're like freaking Smith from Ohio State, who's like a man-child.
Or Williams at Alabama, yeah.
You know what I mean? There's certain people that can make that move, and it's the same thing in basketball. It's a reason as to why some players – making that jump straight to the NBA, it still takes time. You can go and look at a lot of those players. It's a rarity for some of those who have made that leap to do so in a 1 year span. You know, it usually takes 2 to 3 years before they still make that jump. And if you think about it, you could have stayed in college, but it's okay if you still can compete. You're going to take your lumps in your learned lessons and be able to make that adjustment. And so that's where you see some of the differences to me. But what we do also see is, dang, what's going on with Kentucky? We've sent one of our better players to Kentucky, and now they're sending a few of them back to us. So we get 2 for 1. We appreciate the transfer of the 2 for 1 back. But this is lastly, this is the benefit. This is the benefit, Austin, of coaches coming to your program, because this is the thing we've talked about, is the know of when a player knows you, they love how they're being trained by you. On top of that, they don't want to have to deal with a new coach, because then they have to reacclimate themselves to not only getting to know them, but then having to prove themselves to them where they've already been proven in the know. And so they're going to have a leg up even on those who are on site, because they're going to have to figure it out. You know, what is he like? How does he coach? What is he looking for? Where these guys that are coming over by way of transfer already know that. So that's some of the benefit of that as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a multi-pronged deal when you look at Kentucky. Brock Vandegrift, who was the backup quarterback at Georgia for a while, is done with football. He walked away, got banged up too many times. He says, I'm done. And the wide receivers coach left. And it's not the same OC as when Wan'Dale Robinson had his really good year at Kentucky. I would say if you look at Wan'Dale Robinson compared to Dane Key, and then also compared to Hardly Gilmore the fourth, Wan'Dale Robinson is probably the best player in that mix. So we know, we saw him up close and personal for a couple years. Nebraska lost a good one. That could have been a great one at Nebraska, but he thrived in that Kentucky system. That program just hasn't been the same since that 10-win year with Levis at quarterback, with Wan'Dale Robinson, a couple good running backs in the mix as well. But I do think for a program like Nebraska, it's not just a plug-and-play star away from being explosive. I'm okay with Nebraska getting a few, higher-level potential swings than saying we're putting all our eggs in the basket of one star. Dane Key's a really solid player at Kentucky over 3 years, 126 catches for just shy of 1,900 yards, also had 14 touchdowns. That's a good, solid, dependable piece. I think he's kind of in the Jamal Banks mold. And then Hardly Gilmore the fourth, 6'1".
Pause. Austin, his numbers are better than yours when he came over. Like, think about that. Like you said, a solid player, but he's look. That's the SEC, baby. That's one of the best cornerbacks out there. I mean, look, call it what you will. That's some of the best. He's getting work done. So I like that person. But go ahead.
I do as well. And then Hardly Gilmore, again, one of the youngest players in college football. I read the wrong column. He played in 7 games, 6 catches, but 153 yards on 6 catches, 25 yards per catch. That'll play. Had a touchdown as well and 1 rushing attempt for 9 yards. That's
so he can blow the top off of it.
And Nebraska needs that, Strick.
They need that.
Before the New Year's Day break was Jalen Lloyd entering the transfer portal. Who's the deep threat for Nebraska? I'm curious to see if Hardley Gilmore, again, at 6'1", little bigger than Jalen, little taller than Jalen Lloyd at the very least. Can he use long legs, stride out, and be that vertical threat for Nebraska? If he can get on the field as a young freshman in the SEC, I would hope there's opportunity for him at Nebraska.
Put him in the slot. Move Barney out. Let Barney get a little bit more physical, and let him run up. Let him run up against some safeties and use some of that speed on the interior. Yeah, I like it. Even clear pathway for the tight ends to work in the middle or work in the crossing underneath. This is why I think RPO needs to be injected. Not Indiana RPO. I'm not talking about that. Indiana was RPO central. You know what I mean? No, I'm not saying, but put it in the playbook, because this way you can get some of those guys to run off some of those safeties. You can pause some of them, them linebackers, and work them tight ends behind them in some levels action or whatever. I like the prospects of that, but I think it needs to be implemented in some way.
All right, Strick, I think the interesting exercise here then is, since Scott Frost got to Nebraska, there's been quite a number of receivers that have been brought in. Obviously, it's a skill position. There's turnover. You can carry quite a few guys in that room. Who are the 5 best wide receivers? Let's just get the top 2 out of the way, because I think it's pretty obvious. Since 2018, the 2 best transfer wide receivers for Nebraska have been Samori Toure and Trey Palmer. Which one do you think?
Trey Palmer number 1. Trey Palmer number 1. Samori Toure number 2.
Was that easy for you, or did it take some considering?
I love what Samori Toure did. You know what I mean? I really do. I enjoyed what he was able to do. I just think that Trey has some drops at times that I think, but I think his abilities were a little bit more evident than Toure's. I think Toure was sneaky. Like he had sneaky speed. He was able to run good routes to figure out how to get behind people. So I like that aspect of him, but I just think Trey was a little bit bigger in making plays, especially when it was needed, and he could blow the top off any defense, no doubt.
It kind of goes back to me to that Ty Robinson versus John Bullock discussion that we had. I would say the Trey Palmer's the Ty Robinson in this conversation, and Samori Toure was the John Bullock, right? I thought about Samori Toure as Mr. Dependable, always showed up, could count on X number of catches, X number of yards per game. Wasn't necessarily the case. I mean, Samori Toure had 3 catches for 27 yards in Nebraska's first biggest game of the year against Oklahoma. Against Illinois, big game to start the year, only 3 catches. Later in the year, he had the 2 catches against Northwestern, but for 108 yards, 8 catches against Fordham, 2 against Buffalo, but 2 long touchdowns against Buffalo. Played a really good game against Ohio State, 4 for 150, against Wisconsin, 7 for 113, and even against Iowa in that late loss, 6 for 67 against a really good secondary. But I do have to give the nod to Trey Palmer, right? I mean, he only had 1 game with less than 4 catches. That was against Illinois, 1 catch for 1 yard. His magnum opus, one of the best games in Nebraska history, Purdue, 7 catches, 237 yards, and the reverse that went for 60 yards. Trey was just as consistent, if not even more consistent than Samori Toure, and certainly more explosive on top of that. You could scheme him open, and he carried Nebraska in some games, unlike Samori Toure. So I think I go Trey number 1, Samori Toure number 2. Yeah. And then it's kind of a jumbled mess, Stricky. Do you have any clarity at 3, 4, or 5 for you?
I'm going to say Billy Kemp at 3. And the reason being is I actually think that Billy could have been more successful. I think it was unfortunate the quarterback situation just didn't really help him in that. But it doesn't negate what his abilities were, his route capabilities were. I think injuries hindered him a little bit. But I do think that he probably was the 3rd best. Do you want me to go from there, or you want me to stay there?
Yeah, finish out with 4 and 5.
And in a similar light, I'm going to say Marcus Washington. I actually think Marcus Washington shined. He showed abilities, catch abilities, high point abilities. I just think that injuries hindered him as well. And then I'll go with Isaiah Nayar to close it out for me.
Okay. I've got Jamal Banks at number 3. I generally liked what Nebraska got from Jamal Banks. It wasn't perfect. He didn't drop 0 passes like he did against Wake Forest. But Strick, he was Dylan Raiola's number 1 or number 2 target all year. He showed up for all 12 games. He made some big catches, some highlight catches, some important catches. Was he a superstar at Nebraska? No. But I really like the contribution that Nebraska got from Jamal Banks. Wish it would have been a little bit more. Wish there would have been a little bit more consistency with that connection from Raiola to Banks. But I thought overall it was solid. I thought Jamal Banks was pretty much as advertised. I have Billy Kemp at number 4 for a very, very similar reason, right? I find it very hard to fault Billy Kemp for the situation he walked into. That is a good football player, but just a really weird fit for what Nebraska needed and what Billy Kemp was able to give them. Not an outside guy, pretty much a pure slot with, quarterback questions galore that year. I think Billy Kemp's a better player than his stats showed. Weird fit for team and player. Can't fault him for it, but it's the reason that he's number 3 on your list and number 4 on mine. And then I kind of go back and forth here at number 5. I haven't really settled. I like the argument for Marcus Washington because, he showed glimpses of being a true impact player, that number 2 opposite of Trey Palmer. But then the injury against Illinois, I think, robbed him of what would have been a really, really interesting senior year. He's probably the front runner for number 5 for me. I would throw Oliver Martin in that conversation, a guy that played his fair share of snaps, had some nice downfield catches, also did return punts. Well, caught punts, right? He was the safe punt catch guy. So he stood back there for punts and caught punts more than he returned them. But I like both of what Nebraska saw from Marcus Washington and Oliver Martin. They got more out of those 2 guys than they did maybe the highest sought after recruit on this list, Strick, and that's Omar Manning. That's a guy, if we do this list at the time Omar Manning walks onto campus, there's no way he's missing a top 5 list. But Nebraska never got the best out of him. He was never his best self at Nebraska. And when you look at all these names on the list, I think, unfortunately, Omar Manning is the biggest whiff for Nebraska among the transfer wide receivers since the Scott Frost era began.
You know what I'm going to do? Gotcha. Gotcha. And I give that comment 2 thumbs up. Yeah, I agree.
Let's go. Some other names on the list. Isaiah Garcia Castaneda had a big game against Northwestern, disappeared, and then was the punt returner at times this year. He was around. He was a guy, not a huge impact. Levi Falk was pretty early on, had his fair share of catches, never, did anything crazy special. Conaway Noah, that's a guy that caught a touchdown, I believe, from Luke McCaffrey against Indiana, transfer in from Cal, but that was just a 1-year pit stop. And Strick, I do think Isaiah Nair, for me, probably deserves to be in that top 5 conversation as well. My thing is, there's just so much more. He's kind of in that Omar Manning camp for me. Probably more production left on the table than the build and the ability showed you. Obviously, Nair outperformed Omar Manning, but that's why I'm really curious to see Stricky, because Nebraska's gotten pretty good production out of wide receivers. Haven't hit on that true superstar outside of Trey Palmer and then maybe Samori Toure, but Toure's probably the Emeka Egbuka on the next Nebraska team instead of the number 1 Jeremiah Smith. But overall, Strick, I would give Nebraska, a solid B in terms of how it's handled bringing wide receivers in from the transfer portal for the last 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, I could see that. I think in the overall scheme of it, I think they've just been unfortunate with quarterback situation, line situation, and there was just an imbalance there. I think if the line was better, when went down to Oklahoma.
Casey Thompson.
When Casey Thompson was there, I think if the line was better, you probably would have seen some better numbers out of a few of those guys. I think if the quarterback was better, and there could have been some better numbers out of some of those other. It was an unfortunate thing. I think the line got better. I think they just didn't get the most impact out of the receivers that they would. So it's just kind of been this juggling act of just having it not all line up together. And this is what we're hoping they can put together now with an establishment of a solid OC. I think he's going to be a solid OC in Hoverson. And I think Your quarterback is solid. You know what you've got there. A year coming off of freshman. What you don't want is a sophomore slump. You want upward trajectory as far as his play, and hopefully there'll be a combination where he can connect with either guys that are there still, or I think Ja'Cory Barney is one that he can connect with, and hopefully he can find another connection. But he shows the capability of being able to spread the ball around. So we don't care where he connects with, just connect. That's the way we look at it.
I'm with you. Quick text from the text line here, 402-464-5685, brought to you by Starter Heyman Jewelers. 5691 says, are guys like Spielman eligible for the list you're asking about? I said no, because those are guys that transferred out. We were looking at guys that transferred into Nebraska, because I think, Strick, again, if you look at who transferred out versus who transferred in, Nebraska lost better transfers generally than they brought in. J.D. Spielman was a huge loss. J.D. Spielman, I would take, at least in the top three. He's in the conversation with Trey and Samori to be the best receiver. And same for Wan'Dale Robinson. But Nebraska didn't bring those guys in. Nebraska lost those guys. Obviously, J.D. Spielman didn't have the same production at TCU as he did at Nebraska. Wan'Dale Robinson leveled up when he was allowed to focus on receiver. So I think that the purpose of this list was to focus on guys that Nebraska brought in, because you have a couple interesting Kentucky additions instead of the guys that Nebraska lost. So I think that's where we were headed with that. Ready for shootout, Stricky? Tiebreaker question? You feeling good about it?
That left it. I might even go ambidextrous today.
Ooh, don't do it.
Yeah, y'all snuck one out on me last time. I was so close, but I might be able to get you today. Maybe I'll push.
Ooh, we'll see. Buffalo Wings and Rings sponsors the shootout with Strick. It's the tiebreaker question until Stricky's back in studio next week. He'll give a number. You will go over, under, or push his answer. Start your new year off right. Win yourself $30 worth of Strick into our friends at Buffalo Wings and Rings. That's how we'll wrap up hour one of show one of On the Block in 2025.
Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. 93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a slight chance of snow this morning. Otherwise, we'll see partly sunny skies, the high around 35. Tonight, increasing clouds with a low around 20. And tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies with light winds and a high around 30. I'm meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock, or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
New year, new you? Barrel's Extreme Body Shaping can help make sure you keep that resolution this time. Our proven system combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition, along with our expert coaching to make sure you're moving forward toward your goals. The next 10-week challenge starts January 11th. But if you enroll now, you can start today and get a head start on those gains for no extra cost. Plus, head to fxblincoln.com and you can save $100. Don't wait. Barrel's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
The Body Lab, located at 14th and Yankee Hill, is Lincoln's premier physical therapy and recovery lab. The Body Lab offers trigger point dry needling, cupping therapy, joint manipulation, and so much more. Looking to relax and relieve stress after a long day or difficult workout? The Body Lab's recovery lab is the ideal spot. Featuring infrared sauna, a cold plunge tub, or if you're just looking for enough space to stretch out and reset your mind. Learn more about memberships and schedule your service today at thebodylablnk.com or visit the Body Lab in person at 14th and Yankee Hill Road.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solution offers fleet services as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions, 2040 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
We are back here during On the Block. Austin Orman and Eric Strickland with you. We're going to play the Shootout with Strick. Just the tiebreaker question. We will go with texter number 5 with the right answer: over, under, or push Strick's answer. Stricky, we're throwing it back a little bit, but it's still relevant as a college football topic because we will not have a Heisman Trophy top 5 finisher in the national championship game because all of them lost. Travis Hunter lost to BYU in the Alamo Bowl. Ashton Genty falls to Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl. Dylan Gabriel and Oregon get rocked by Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. Cam Ward and Miami lose to Iowa State in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. And then Cam Scadaboo loses to Texas in the Peach Bowl. So those are your top 5 finishers in the Heisman Trophy who will not be playing for a national championship. Your question, though, is this. Since the year 2000, how many college football players have won the Heisman Trophy and a national championship in the same year?
Since 2000?
Since 2000. How many college football players have won the Heisman Trophy and the national championship in the same season?
Bam, carried it 2, divided by 2. See.
Math.
Square root of 5.
Take the numerator.
2000. Drinks.
Stricky says 3. Over, under, or push his answer. 402-464-5685, texter number 5. Who are the 3 that you think, Stricky?
I don't know.
You can think about it. Let's see here. We got responses rolling in.
I don't know.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Lemonhead. Lemonhead is our winner. The answer is over. Stricky, it has been done 17 times.
Really?
17 times. 7 of them since the year 2000. Here's the list. You have Matt Leinart for USC.
I remember that. Okay, I remember that.
You got Mark Ingram from Alabama.
Okay.
Beating Ndamukong Suh for the Heisman when Alabama beats Texas.
That was a bull jump.
It was. Very next year, Cam Newton and Auburn. Cam wins the Heisman. Auburn wins the Natty. A few years later, Jameis Winston in Florida State. Derrick Henry. Joe Burrow. And the most recent, Devontae Smith and Alabama in 2020.
I missed an addition. I did too much carrying.
Too much dividing by 2.
Yeah, that part.
A little bit much on the square root. So 7 times since 2000, they've won the Heisman and the national championship in the same year. We will get back to the full game show on Tuesday when Stricky is here in person.
Hey, that's the second time I missed it by 4, man. That ain't right, bro. That ain't right, bro.
Keep that in mind. Keep it in mind.
That's you, Austin.
That's me.
Gotcha.
I got you. I give you 2 thumbs up and 2 thumbs down. That's 4.
Oh,
I can count to 4.
Good stuff.
We'll go to break. When we get back, we will talk college football playoff reaction. What did we like from the games? What did we dislike from the games? Of course, Notre Dame and Georgia are unfortunately playing today instead of last night. So 3 games to react to. And then in the second segment of the show, we'll get into bowl records by conference. What, if anything, can we learn from how conferences are doing in the postseason? Stick with us. We got hour 2 of On the Block coming your way momentarily.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth. 93.7 The Ticket. Follow Austin, Strick, and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orbit, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the holiday sales event is now underway with unbelievably low interest rates and huge discounts on both our new and pre-owned inventory. Right now, we're offering 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. These are the absolute biggest discounts of the year. You heard right, 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. So please stop on in or check us out online at koppelcars.com. All deals with approved credit, must trade, and Costco.
New year, new you? Barrel's Extreme Body Shaping can help make sure you keep that resolution this time. Our proven system combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition, along with our expert coaching to make sure you're moving forward toward your goals. The next 10-week challenge starts January 11th. But if you enroll now, you can start today and get a head start on those gains for no extra cost. Plus, head to fxblincoln.com and you can save $100. Don't wait. Barrel's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL Weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a slight chance of snow this morning. Otherwise, we'll see partly sunny skies, the high around 35. Tonight, increasing clouds with a low around 20. And tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies with light winds and a high around 30. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just the professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Greens at 402-467-4444 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-4444.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solution offers fleet services as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions, 2040 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
Salt Mine City is now open at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Come check out Lincoln's newest brewery with 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager, Brick Street Amber Wheat, and so many more. There's daily drink specials like $1 off Moscow Mules on Tuesdays, $6 IPAs on Fridays, and $6 Bloody Marys on Saturdays. Stop by Tuesday through Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Fridays 4 to 11 p.m., Saturdays 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. It's Salt Mine City, Lincoln's newest brewery at 8th and R.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
Outside is where winter adventure unfolds. On frozen lakes, icy landscapes, and snow-covered slopes, feeling the cold air rush by as you race downhill. The freedom of gliding with ease and the warmth of being together. From epic sled rides to the fun of ice fishing, it's all right here beneath Nebraska skies. Start your winter adventure at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Associations and this station.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three. And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NEBCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Welcome in Hour 2 of Show 1 of 2025. Hope you all had a fantastic New Year's Eve into New Year's Day. I know I sure did. Sat around, watched some football, hung out with little man. I had him to myself yesterday. It was a fantastic time. How was New Year down where you're at, Stricky? Have a good celebration? High key, low key? Where are you at with it all?
Low key for your boy Stricky, man. Nothing crazy. It was enjoyable. It was chill. Again, like I said, it was my mother's birthday. It was on the 31st, so we just celebrate with her. And listen, man, I'm sad, but I'm also glad that we get to partake and at least it doesn't get fumbled. We get to watch tonight, and hopefully Omaha-born Xavier Watts out of Burke will have a tremendous game, and it'll hold form. Maybe Notre Dame will be able to pull it off and shake things up and just make this whole thing have to go back to the drawing board and have to figure out like what did we miss, as far as the construction of what the college football playoff is and what that would look like. Here's the thing about it, Austin. I don't see they go backwards. So I know what you said. And I agree. I think they should have stepped it up that way, and you could have got a better assessment. But again, when you've got this involved, you throw it to the wind and hope that you hit and then try to adjust from there. But I think they should have progressed it the way that they did, and then said, okay, is there a way that we can adjust it from here to maybe add an addition? Would it make sense to add an addition? Or so forth and so on. But right now, I don't see them backtracking. I don't see them going back and subtracting. There will be a lot of upset people on that. And then, but I think they're going to have to figure out a way to navigate it now that they've got a hiccup.
I'm with you, Strick. Before we jump into the games that we saw over New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, I think there are two places that the college football playoff can go. Number one would be to 14 teams and do the NFL model, right? Where only the top seed in each conference gets a bye, and then they have home field advantage throughout the rest of the playoffs. It'll just be played at the home of the higher seeded team. If they go to 14, I think you can do that, where you give them a bye and you give them a home game in the next round before you get to the quarterfinals that are at the bowl sites like we have right now. That to me is fine.
I think you play the first ones at a bowl.
Oh,
I think you do it that way. So I'm feeling you when you said that. I'm like, okay, this is the way to still be able to get the bowls in. Play the earlier ones in a bowl so you get neutral site, and then work your way up and allow the back games outside of the championship game to be on home field.
Okay.
So this way you get the bowl games out, you get those out of the way, but I know they're not going to go that route because they want the build up, the crescendo to, a championship. So I don't see them doing it, but I think that would be a cool way to do it. Why not do it the way that they do it like in the FCS? They play the majority of those games at whoever has the highest seed. And I think that's a bit of it, but guess who benefits from that? The school. I think the school should be able to have some benefit of that. But I like that aspect that at least that bye game, they would be able to at least get at home.
Yeah.
You play those bowls earlier. You may play another secondary bowl. Well, no, because once you get past the first round, you go to whoever those home teams are. The lower seeds will go there. I think those would be a home game. Whoever those lower seeds, they play that. And you can play the other two, because there'll be two teams that will still have to play. No, it'll be four teams that will still have to play, right? Then you play that in another bowl scenario. Play those two, let the other ones play at home. They get their benefit, and then you go back to the bowl and the neutral. I don't know. Thoughts? 402-464-5685. How would you put it together? If you get that layout, just based on what Austin said, adding an additional two teams gives you 14 now. Sure, a lot of people will be happy about that. There's some that were on the fringe where would have loved that, but I'm sure Alabama wouldn't because they took the L anyway. So
that part.
So there you go.
The other option that I think they have, Strick, is to go to 16, and then you can do it almost like March Madness and seed it that way, right? You can do it geographically based. Now it's going to be a lot different because you have East, South, Midwest, and West regions in NCAA men's basketball. We all know that the axis of power in college football has shifted not only south but east as well, right? It's in the SEC. And we'll get to this next segment, right? Deserved or not, that's where the axis of power is right now. But if you take the major bowl games, as in the Rose Bowl, you can do, I guess, the Cotton Bowl potentially. You could do the Fiesta Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Peach Bowl, and the Sugar Bowl. Not a lot of northern representation there. So I think you would maybe have to mix in a game, say in Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, for example, for a Midwest or a Northern. You could do, I'm sure there's, Detroit Ford Field wouldn't be bad. See if you can find a dome in the Mid-Atlantic or further north as well. But could you do it geographically, right? Where the top 4 seeds essentially have their own mini bracket. And it's at a place that both games that they would play are at a place that is, geographically relevant to them. So like UConn in men's basketball is a 1 seed the last couple of years. They get to stay in the East region as the overall number 1. Purdue is the number 2 overall seed, but the number 1 in the Midwest got to stay, generally in the Midwest where it's less travel for them and more for the other teams. I think for football, it makes a lot more sense to do the NFL model where you can give the number 1 seed on the top of the bracket, the number 2 seed on the bottom of the bracket, both the rest and the home field advantage. But I'd be curious about what 16 would look like or what even 24 would look like, to your point, with the FCS model, because guess what? They've been doing it for a very long time now, and it runs pretty darn well without any hiccups.
Gotcha.
So
I don't know, and I'm sure a lot of people will be happy about that model, but but how do you make that work with conference situations? You would have to eliminate some conference games, so forth. There's a lot of things that I'm sure a lot of people would not be happy about unless they're getting home games. But to me, that would be the benefit of busting your tail, winning and taking care of business, and getting to be at home during those that time frame. So I don't know. I like the idea potentially of having that regional model. It seems like that would be pretty cool.
We're going to get back to sane conferences that are geographically based at some point. I don't know when it's going to be, but I still think that day's coming. Let's get into the game, Stricky. Let's start on New Year's Eve. Penn State and Boise State. Nittany Lions win a big game. James Franklin can do it. 6 seed Penn State with the first upset of the tournament over number 3 Boise State. Your initial reaction and takeaway from the Nittany Lions advancing in the college football playoff?
First and foremost, it went like I thought it would in some instances. Maddox Madsen was going to throw the ball in this game. Obviously, he had to throw it more because of the fact that they got down, but they gave the ball to Ashton Genty 30 times. And I told you that was what they were going to do. They were still going to do that. I thought they would be able to take advantage of, a heavy box from Penn State. And they just got out on them and just continued to unload. And they played a good game. Drew Aller just contained. Didn't have a great game. The problem came with Maddox Madsen throwing 3 interceptions, and that's part of the issue. Is we knew that they were going to force him to throw it. He was going to have to throw it, but he couldn't turn the ball over in throwing it, which unfortunately caused them to take the L.
That's really what it is, Strick, because Drew Aller's final line isn't incredible, but he started out so well. He was dropping dimes in the first half, really the first quarter. Penn State gets up 14-0 because of interceptions, because of a couple uncharacteristic fumbles by Ashton Genty, one of which was an incredible play by the Penn State defense. But Strick, Penn State didn't really put this game away until it scored that final touchdown by Nick Singleton. It's 14-0. Penn State gets another turnover. They have the ball in plus territory, and Drew Aller just botches a handoff. Boise State falls on. If Penn State would have gone up 21-0, night-night for Boise State, but they allowed Boise State to hang around. It was a 10-point game, which is still 2 possessions, but competitive, well within the spread that I saw going into that game. And then they get the late touchdown to ice it. So this is a game that I think could have been worse for Boise State, could have gone a lot worse, but was also maybe closer than the 17-point margin would indicate. I got a couple numbers here to throw at you, Strick. From Opta Stats, they said Boise State is the only FBS team this century to have a dozen or more penalties, turn the ball over 4 times, miss multiple field goals, and allow 200-plus rushing yards in a single game. That's the formula for a blowout. Except, Strick, here's this. Boise had more total yards, more first downs, and more time of possession than Penn State did. Boise was not necessarily outmatched or outclassed. Boise was just a little shook early. They made some uncharacteristic mistakes. I mean, Madsen's the second quarterback. It's him and Jackson Dart that have thrown for 300 yards on Penn State in the last 2 years. Genty was only the second running back to go for 100 against Penn State this year. Boise was only the second team to outgain Penn State this year. The other game would have been, I believe, the Big Ten championship game against Oregon. Boise wasn't outclassed. Boise wasn't outmatched. They just made some stupid plays and were a little undisciplined. This was still a good game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. But again, that goes back to the R&R that you talked about, rest and rust. And it's very possible that you knew what the format of the game was going to be for Boise State. You knew how they were going to attack it. I knew that they were going to probably throw a wrinkle of more pass into it, especially in the early onset of it. They just didn't execute, and sometimes that could be just being not on the same page. The speed of the game popping up on them just that quick with that time off. Because guess what? You're not doing for the most part. You're preserving injuries. You're not hitting. You're not going game speed. You're not doing that. Whereas they're coming off of that in a high intensity game 1 week, barely under a week ago. So it's unfortunate, and that's just part of the way the format's set up right now.
Penn State wins it 31-14 over Boise State. Stricky, maybe the game of the college football playoff so far happened in Atlanta. How about Texas and Arizona State? Longhorns 39, Sun Devils 31. We saw Texas winning. We didn't think it would be this close. It wasn't close for a while. Shout out to Arizona State for making it a game. Your reaction to the Longhorns taking down the Sun Devils?
Yeah, Scatterboo throwing up on the sideline, still giving his best effort, 30 carries for 143 at a 5 average clip, 2 TDs, and then being the top receiver as well at 8 catches, going almost 400 yards there as well. He was tough. He was being shut down pretty early in the first half and got it going in the second half, got them back into the game. They stayed after it. They didn't give up. They didn't give in. Sam Levitt started to make some plays, had a few unfortunate situations. Quinn Ewers made a couple of mistakes, but for the most part played pretty well. And, unfortunate not getting that target. I don't know what the freak they were looking at on that play. He launched with helmet, crown, not necessarily with the side, because you saw the difference. It was a similar play that happened. What game was it? Where they thought they might have got a targeting call, and he hits him with the shoulder and knocks the guy down, and they get the interception. What game was that? Was that the same game? Was that the same game? It might have been the same game.
All I know is I didn't watch all this game. I had it on in the background as little Herbie was napping on me. We went to the park. Arizona State makes the comeback, and I turn it on just in time to see Texas walk it off with the pick.
402-464-5685. I think what happened, I want to say there was a post pattern, and I think it was in the same game. And it's probably the coaches that got after him, and it was the same game, because I remember Sarkisian was mad, and he thought that he should have got a targeting penalty on an interception
from Ewers?
Interception, and he hit him with the shoulder. Different play. Hit him with the shoulder, didn't launch into the head, hit him kind of underneath into the chest, not a targeting. That situation was different. That was one of the ones where they didn't want to, I think the refs didn't want to make that play call, or whoever up top didn't want to make that, because it was kind of a similar type of situation and they didn't get the benefit of it. Or it's big money Texas situation. I don't know what happened, but it was crazy that didn't happen. It was very unfortunate, because I think with that play, that puts them in the field goal position. But here's the problem. Arizona State's field goal kicker is Doodoo Brown. He couldn't make a 20-yard field goal, let alone.
And Texas has missed 2.
Well, I know, but he's still a better kicker. He just missed 2. Like this, he was like 44 for 49, and 2 of them was in that game. So it was an unfortunate thing for them. But Arizona State's kicker was absolute horrible. So he may have missed it anyway. We don't know, but still, to not make that call, I think was very unfortunate for Arizona State in that situation. Leads them into overtime, and great play made on the interception there to close the game off by I think it was he's got a funny name. Mbuka. Yeah.
That man, as Mark Jackson would say. That man. Yeah, there was a lot in this game. Strick, you had a safety from Arizona State that kind of helped spark the comeback. The plays that stand out to me, obviously Scatterboo getting thrown into the end zone backwards by his offensive lineman was pretty funny. Sam Levitt was balling out. Not a perfect game from him, but you see the playmaking potential That's a guy Nebraska was interested in the quarterback position in the transfer portal before landing Dylan Raiola. Some Scattaboo numbers for you. Cam Scattaboo, the only FBS, FCS, or NFL player this century to have at least 100 rushing yards, 75 receiving yards, a passing touchdown, and a 2-point conversion in the same game. That's pretty incredible. How about this? 143 yards rushing, 99 yards receiving, 42 yards passing. Cam Scattaboo had more yards against Texas by himself than Georgia did the entire SEC championship game. That's how nuts of a performance that was. What it comes down to, Strick, is Texas won a few plays late, right? 4th and 13, game on the line, no safety help over top. Texas hits the touchdown, kick the extra point and tie. And
what was the freaking safety looking at on that play? I'm like,
nothing.
Deepest man is what I'm like, well, you had nothing in the middle third of the field, and you let him just run by you? Like, what are you looking at, my guy? I was like, wow. And it was 4th down. I'm like,
13,
what are you looking
at? In overtime.
Gotcha.
Then
they tricked that off themselves. They tricked that off themselves. That's all you can really say on that.
Yeah, and the very next play, Texas gets the ball right back. First play, overtime. That was an incredible play call and play designed by Sarkisian. Gunnar Helm was really big for Texas in that game. And then Arizona State behind the sticks didn't need it all, but Sam Levitt went for it all. Good play by the defensive back. Really briefly here, Strick, we got 3 or 4 minutes before we get to break. Ohio State and Oregon. How about the Buckeyes up 31-0 at one point before Oregon's final drive of the first half? Ducks get on the board. The Buckeyes have it in cruise control in the second half. 41-21 is a much closer score than I think that game felt like. That was a total domination by the Buckeyes in Pasadena.
I think it's just they were the benefit of just taking out some of their guys, keeping them healthy, and allowing them to be ready for what's next. Didn't have to overexert Will Howard in any way. He maintained, he took care of the ball, he made dimes of throws, but it just really showed that Jeremiah Smith is him. He is him. 7 for 187, and there was nothing the Oregon Ducks defensive back core could do with that man. And then you add in Egbuka as well with a great night. But shout out to the run game. It was total dominance up front, both on the offense and the defense. 8 carries for Travion Henderson for 94 yards. That's a 12-yard clip every time he touched the ball. And then, just the bruising back. You had lightning and thunder coming at you in every way. And then Judkins also goes for a 5 clip. So, they got it done. I mean, they made Dylan Gabriel look very human. They put an absolute focus on taking care of Ted Johnson, who took some hits. They made sure that every time he got the ball, touched the ball, he was getting hit. And so, I think they had a great game plan for him. Shut down the run game because Oregon's run game had been pretty solid. Then their running back gets injured.
James goes out.
James gets injured. So it was just an overall bad night. I mean, they looked like they were stuck in quicksand throughout this game.
Which is not something we're used to saying for Oregon, right? The speed program, the fast program that is learning to be more physical. It's all coming together for Ohio State at the right time. How about this Strick? Since 2000 again, the AP number 1 team, which is Oregon, the last undefeated team in the country, had not allowed 4 offensive touchdowns of 40-plus yards in an entire game. Ohio State had 4 touchdowns on offense from 40-plus in the first half. That's pretty incredible. It's a program that didn't look ready for the moment, or maybe it's just Ohio State putting it all together. Because here's this, Strick. We'll wrap up the segment with this. Ohio State this year, again, thanks to Opta Stats, relying on them for a lot of good numbers here this segment. Ohio State beat the number 5 team, Indiana, by 23 points. Beat the number 7 team, Tennessee, by 25 points, and then beat the number 1 team, Oregon, by 20 points. Do you know who the last team to have 3 wins by 20 or more points against AP top 10 teams was?
It has to be Alabama.
Longer, further back, Stricky.
Has to be the Huskers.
95 Huskers.
Has to be the Huskers.
95 Huskers were the last team before Ohio State with 3 victories of 20 points or more against AP top 10 teams. And of course, those 95 Huskers complete the back-to-back. Is that a good sign for Ohio State? Are they emptying the clip too early? We will certainly see. Ohio State, Texas in one semifinal. Penn State awaits the winner of Notre Dame and Georgia today.
Notre Dame and Georgia underway, 0-0, but Georgia's moving. Shout out to them getting this game underway. There's been no hiccups and no problems so far. So, thank goodness for law enforcement and those there as well.
We will keep you abreast of the happenings in the fourth quarterfinal of the college football playoff. When we get back, though, let's take a look at bowl season. Which conferences are doing well? Which conferences are not? Do we maybe need to rethink some of our biases in the narratives in college football? Let's take a look at that when we get back to On the Block.
Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solution offers fleet services as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions, 2040 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Salt Mine City is now open at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Come check out Lincoln's newest brewery with 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager, Brick Street Amber Wheat, and so many more. There's daily drink specials like $1 off Moscow Mules on Tuesdays, $6 IPAs on Fridays, and $6 Bloody Marys on Saturdays. Stop by Tuesday through Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Fridays 4 to 11 p.m., Saturdays 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. It's Salt Mine City, Lincoln's newest brewery at 8th and R.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a slight chance of snow this morning. Otherwise, we'll see partly sunny skies, the high around 35. Tonight, increasing clouds with a low around 20. And tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies with light winds and a high around 30. I'm meteorologist Kyle Puckett for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
League One Volleyball is bringing the action to Omaha with Omaha's first serve on January 24th at 7 p.m. Central Time at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Witness history in the making as Love Omaha Volleyball takes on Love Madison in the team's inaugural home match. Be there to watch Olympic teammates Jordan Larson and Lauren Carlini go head-to-head in a battle of the world's best. Visit lovboma.com for tickets starting at $31. Volleyball is the next major league.
The Body Lab, located at 14th and Yankee Hill, is Lincoln's premier physical therapy and recovery lab. The Body Lab offers trigger point dry needling, cupping therapy, joint manipulation, and so much more. Looking to relax and relieve stress after a long day or difficult workout? The Body Lab's recovery lab is the ideal spot. featuring infrared sauna, a cold plunge tub, or if you're just looking for enough space to stretch out and reset your mind. Learn more about memberships and schedule your service today at thebodylablnk.com or visit the Body Lab in person at 14th and Yankee Hill Road.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Greens at 402-467-4444 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-4444.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back on the block, half an hour to go on this first show of the year. I'm Austin Norman, my partner Eric Strickland with you, and you're with us, 402-464-5685. Couple comments to get to here on the text line in just a couple minutes. But before we do that, Strick, this is something you've been wanting to look into, and I think we're at a pretty good point in the calendar. Not all the bowl games are in the bank yet. We do still have some to go, including college football playoff games. But we can take a look right now at conferences' records in bowl games. So when you look at conferences overall, I think the two that are going to stand out are the Big Ten and the SEC. Right now, the Big Ten has a record of 8-5 in bowl games. You have Minnesota yet to play in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. That will be tomorrow. And then we'll see how long Ohio State and Penn State's runs in the college football playoff continue. Compare and contrast that with the SEC, who has a 7-5 record right now. Texas to go, Georgia in action right now, and then Ole Miss taking on Duke in the Gator Bowl later tonight. Two best conferences that were led to believe, with an 8-5 record for the Big Ten, a 7-5 record for the SEC. Are they proving that they're the two big dogs in bowl season, in your eyes?
I need to pause. Here's why. Big Ten is unfortunate that they had two matchups in which they faced each other. So that's two L's that, it's a win and a loss. That's that's an unfortunate situation there. And so I actually think that right now the Big Ten's looking a little bit, better in the layout of that form. But I look at it. The American has had a dominate out of their 8 games. They have one left. They're 6-1 in their record right now in taking care of business. But the one that's Doodoo Brown. Your boys.
My boys.
Your boys.
Don't you put that on me. My boys ain't played yet.
The Doodoo Brown ACC has shown itself and has revealed itself to be the Cinderella, with every other conference being the wicked stepsisters. And they're stepping on their neck. The pumpkin and the mouse and everybody else, it has reached 12 a.m. and they didn't make it home. And so it's a lot of problems in the ACC right now. They're unfortunate is the way things look for them. But, the MAC has done pretty well. Independents are faring very well. There's only 3 teams, and Notre Dame happens to be one of those as well. The other one is the Mountain West, and obviously there's only 2 teams in the Pac-12, and that was Washington State who took the L. Very unfortunate. But right now, the SEC is not looking like that dominant factor that most thought. And you saw, who was it that was trolling Texas A&M? Who beat Texas A&M?
USC beat A&M.
USC. So that was a Big Ten SEC matchup. And no one thought SEC USC would be able to beat that Texas A&M team, in which they did, and USC was trolling. And they did a tweet with basically letting everybody know in the NCAA that we're gonna put our sack on everything that you're saying about the narratives of the SEC and Big Ten at this point.
Let's just go through these SEC games, Strick, because we can't just take bowl games as the end-all, all-be-all. Has the SEC done better or worse in big games with its bigger name programs, right? Florida stomps Tulane. I was a little surprised by that one, to be completely honest. I think the arrow's pointing up for Florida next year. Not what I would have thought we would have said at the beginning of the year, but DJ Lagway is certainly a sense of optimism for that program. Texas over Clemson, took care of business, did what they were supposed to do. Tennessee, probably not supposed to get beat by 25 points, even on the road at Ohio State. I'd say that's a moderate letdown for the SEC, even though Ohio State was favored. Oklahoma losing to Navy.
Wait, they talked a lot of trash. They said what they was going to do, come in there and plant flags, and they was talking all kinds of trash and got that
work.
I almost cursed. I almost had to dump that.
They got that work, is what they got.
Work, right.
Indeed. So Navy beats Oklahoma, despite Oklahoma being up in that game. Vandy over Georgia Tech, meh, who really cares? Arkansas over Texas Tech, battle amid. Congrats to the Hogs for that one. You have A&M blowing a lead against USC, right? This is not vintage USC. A&M had a better year than USC by all accounts. That's a disappointing one for the SEC. Pretty good comeback for the Big Ten if you're looking for conference supremacy. Missouri beats Iowa. As much as you might dislike the SEC, I don't think anyone's mad at Missouri beating Iowa. Maybe the biggest surprises, though, Strick, Michigan over Alabama. And how about Illinois getting its 10th win over of the year over a South Carolina team that the SEC tried to tell us belonged in the playoffs?
Should have been in.
Bama goes down to 7-5. Michigan and South Carolina goes down to 9-3. Illinois. Those are two huge marks in favor of the Big Ten over the SEC right now.
Yeah, because one of the things we had talked about is, yes, at the top, it's very heavy loaded for the SEC, but what would it look like in the middle? And we've always believed that the middle of the Big Ten is stronger than probably the middle of the SEC. And there's been a lot of talk, a lot of gibbering about that, but it's starting to show and prove that was actually the case by way of the matchups, not the records, but the actual matchups between the two.
The games you actually play on the field. Funny how that works out. I do think it's interesting, Strick, to then look at the ACC and the Big 12 and compare them, because those are the other two conferences in the Power Four that are trying to find their footing in the way forward. You brought up the ACC, and let's just start there. 2-9 in bowl games with only one to play, or two to play. It'll be Duke against Ole Miss, and it'll be Virginia Tech against Minnesota. UNLV versus Cal, UNLV favored, meh, whatever, write it off. SMU on the road against Penn State. SMU missed some opportunities early. If Penn State goes and wins that game, not a huge shock. Clemson battled with Texas, right? That was a closer game, I think, than the 2-touchdown score would indicate. So I give them a half thumbs up, I guess, for Clemson and Texas. Pitt should not have lost to Toledo. Georgia Tech is whatever. Good on Syracuse for doing that. North Carolina no-showed. Boston College no-showed for 3/4 of that game against Nebraska. Miami, how much of a pass do you give Miami for losing to Iowa State? Should Miami have been favored in that game, and should they have won it? Or do you say, Cam Ward sat out the second half? It's not necessarily surprising that Iowa State took it home.
This goes back to the thing that I talked about with why I was so impressed with what Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders had done. That's another discussion for a potential topic, Paul, that you and I see. Austin and I talk.
Friday action tomorrow.
Freestyle Friday action. It might be a part of that discussion tomorrow. So stay tuned. Tune back in right here. Same bat time, same bat channel, 2 to 4. But that situation, what would happen otherwise, we will never know. But you got to give Iowa State credit. They continue to poke and prod and was able to get the job done. And there was a lot of discussion by the broadcast as to whether or not Cam Ward was going to come back and maybe put himself into the game. But this is part of the discussion that we'll talk about a little bit tomorrow as to maybe if it was a little different situation, maybe, he might have played it. Or is it worth playing? Or should you play? Or is it too many people sitting out? And how can we eliminate that? That's going to probably be what we talk about tomorrow in Freestyle Friday.
I like it. Let's definitely keep that there, because I think people are going to have thoughts on it. On the Big 12 front, Strick, if the big thing's going to be the college football playoff moving forward in the expanded playoff, we should note that only one Big 12 team got in, and it was only the champion that was going to get in. Look at where these teams finished ranked, like Iowa State behind a few SEC teams in the middle of that pack, BYU behind some of these teams in the middle of the pack. Not a lot of respect for Colorado's resume, which was mostly against the bottom of the Big 12. But I think if you look at Kansas State, Chris Kleiman said he's not disappointed by their year. K-State was never a true contender for the college football playoff after about mid-season, but they come back and they beat Rutgers 44-41 in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. You look at Iowa State and their win over
Miami. Were losing that game too.
Yeah.
They were. Yeah. I thought Rutgers was going to pull it out, but
they did not.
Neither here nor there. They did not get it.
And that's not a great Rutgers team. It's still a bowl-eligible Rutgers team. Kansas State dug deep. I thought Kansas State was a better team going in, that they won out in the end. Yeah. But especially, Strick, if you look at what Iowa State did against Miami, you look at what BYU did. Yeah, it's a conference matchup against Colorado, but they still won that by 3 possessions, and it took a late score to make it even within that. Right now, I think you can go back and forth between the Big Ten and the SEC as the top dog, right? If you get an Ohio State versus Penn State national championship, that'll be great for the Big Ten. If you get a Georgia-Texas national championship, we'll hear all the yapping from SEC country. So we'll see if that gets decided on the field, kind of like we had the Big Ten semifinal and the ACC semifinal in volleyball, and the Big Ten wins out in that one. But then if you're looking for some of those at-large bids after the 5 teams that they get the automatic bid right now, I think the Big 12 did itself a great favor for following college football playoffs by showing up in bowl season. The ACC did itself no favors going 2-9. The best they can do is 4-9. But Iowa State beating Miami, 2 really good teams that Iowa State prevails in. BYU looking as good as it did as well. Yeah. I think the Big 12 positioned itself as the 3rd best football conference right now because of what it did during bowl season.
I agree, and I think that's going to raise the eyebrows of the committee going forward, and there will be a probably a different assessment towards how that's going to look at the end. But shout out, I got to give credit to Clemson though, and I know what Scott said on the YouTube stream talking about a 9-3 team should not get in, but that's the benefit of winning your conference championship. That's just the layout, and it's no different than what North Carolina State did in
March Madness.
In the same conference, by the way, and making the run that they made to win their conference championship and get in. That's just the way it was, and that's the way it is. And I thought they showed improved though, that they belonged. They played well, and they gave themselves a shot. So yeah, we'll see.
On the Starter Heyman Jewelers text line, Phil says, if the championship game ends up being Ohio State and Penn State, will it still mean more in the SEC? I think we've determined that no, it won't still mean more in the SEC. It'll be because those bowl games didn't matter to the SEC teams. They weren't going to show up till the national championship game anyways. It's just funny to hear it come from SEC country. Strick, they are so good at, after the fact, picking out which bowl games matter, which results matter, and which ones where the teams don't want to show up. Do they think we're stupid? We see their game. Like, we're not that dumb. We're not, backwards Northern Hicks that don't know what's going on. We watch football too. We saw actual games. The SEC saw hypothetical games. It will never cease being funny to me how the SEC thinks it can continue to get away with pushing that narrative when we all see the truth.
There you go. It's the same thing that you see in politics, you see in life. There's these created narratives that come out there, and believe your lying eyes. we can't see what's going on here, but we're just going to hypothetically throw these things out in the wind. But that's unfortunately the landscape of the day. But it's I think it's playing out differently as far as how the games are playing themselves out.
Old Dad 34, we see your question on the text line as well. We will discuss that between ourselves during break. We'll figure out if that's something we want to address in the crossover or if we save that for Freestyle Friday tomorrow, because it is an interesting question. We'll go to break. We'll cross it over thanks to Love Volleyball Omaha. That'll wrap up show number 1 of 2025 for us here during On the Block.
Follow Austin, Strick, and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing an authentic relationship with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-491-9100 and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Having diabetes doesn't have to ruin your new year. Join a Nebraska-supported program like Living Well with Diabetes. You'll learn how to manage your symptoms, feel more confident, and reduce stress about your diagnosis. Search Nebraska Living Well with Diabetes and click on the DHHS Healthy Living Programs page to learn more. Paid for by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solution offers fleet services as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions, 2040 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
Salt Mine City is now open at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Come check out Lincoln's newest brewery with 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager, Brick Street Amber Wheat, and so many more. There's daily drink specials like $1 off Moscow Mules on Tuesdays, $6 IPAs on Fridays, and $6 Bloody Marys on Saturdays. Stop by Tuesday through Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Fridays 4 to 11 p.m., Saturdays 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. It's Salt Mine City, Lincoln's newest brewery at 8th and R.
Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a happy new year. They are thankful for many things from 2023 and hope that 2024 brings prosperity for you and starts off well for everyone in your life. This important message comes to you from Bart and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialists here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
The Body Lab, located at 14th and Yankee Hill, is Lincoln's premier physical therapy and recovery lab. The Body Lab offers trigger point dry needling, cupping therapy, joint manipulation, and so much more. Looking to relax and relieve stress after a long day or difficult workout? The Body Lab's recovery lab is the ideal spot. featuring infrared sauna, a cold plunge tub, or if you're just looking for enough space to stretch out and reset your mind. Learn more about memberships and schedule your service today at thebodylablnk.com or visit the Body Lab in person at 14th and Yankee Hill Road.
If you're sick of catering from the same places every month, it's time to switch things up. Mulberry Barbecue is perfect for business lunches and dinners, family gatherings, holiday parties, wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners, and so much more. Delivery and full service options are available, and they can cater for anything from 10 people to 500 people. Call them at 402-937-7114 to look at their menu options and get your catering booked today. Mulberry Barbecue, located at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back one final time, day one of 2025. Austin Norman, Eric Strickland with you. Stricky, we got special guest. Number 44, number 56 is in the house. Jay
Beezy.
Yeah, what up with it?
What up, my boy, man? Welcome to the new year, son.
Yeah, man. Happy New Year, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's good to have you on the block today, man. And what's your initial take on what you've seen as far as the college football playoffs at this point, especially with those right now? You know, Notre Dame and Georgia are finally going off. We've given condolences to those down there, both in New Orleans, and we know what also happened there in Vegas. But what's your initial take on the seeding and how it's playing out up to this point, and how unfortunately it is playing out that it was worse off to be a top seed than it was to be a lower seed at this point?
Man, I think if you're Oregon, you have the biggest gripe. You're the only team in the nation that went undefeated, and you face Ohio State. Doesn't even matter how Ohio State is playing. Obviously, they're playing right now, and they're looking really, really good. But even when Ohio State, you just played them, and you barely won by 1 point. So essentially, at home, that's the draw you get for going undefeated. I think it was a catastrophic mistake of giving Boise a bye.
I thought they acquitted themselves pretty well.
No, they hadn't had the competition. They were, in my opinion, I felt like it was a byproduct of other Big Ten or SEC teams, not stepping up. And then also they benefited off of Clemson, give or take, or whatever you thought, upsetting SMU, right? Because if SMU wins, it's different. And so I don't think Boise should have been got a bye. I like the argument, maybe Arizona State. They probably looked the best out of all of them, but so that messed up the seeds, and the games haven't been really, really competitive. And I think the Clemson game was the best game in the first weekend. Everybody expected the Ohio State game to be against. Then it was the best game was Arizona State against Texas. So you got Texas has actually been in the two best games, and Ohio State has looked the best. And so I think this year, just like they did the BCS, the first couple years, I think it's a learning experience, and I think it'll get better. I think as they expand, I'm assuming they're going to eventually expand to 16. I think the 14. I think they're going to expand.
That was another question that Strick and I are going back and forth on.
Right.
Would you go NFL style 14 teams next, or do you jump straight to 16 and do more geographically?
I would go 14. I like 14. And stair step it. I like 14. And if you start to get true parity from 1 to 10, then you could possibly see 16. But I think as what people don't really realize is, and really put in their thought process, is if the NCAA or the powers that be get a handle on the transfer portal and the NIL, it will boil over into the football season and the college football playoffs. You'll get better products. Now everybody is able to, if you hit on, like, if Arizona State, right, they had the Michigan State essentially of 2024 season as the transfer portal gets. They got 23 guys that came in, 17 of them end up starting. Well, now we're going to see what happens next year. and they have their bell cow leaving and so forth and so on. And so once you kind of get some tread on that and teams know how to kind of build their roster for like a 2 or 3 year period, I think that's when you'll see the expansion go. But I think the next year's seeding and play and bowl game sites and all that stuff, and maybe eventually starting the season maybe a week or two earlier, I think will be all on the table.
Jay and Austin, one last thing that I noticed, and I picked up on this, and I wanted to throw it to both of you guys in this segment and not necessarily make it a segment. But here's a misconception about the transfer portal and all that it goes with it. Ohio State, I'm just going to talk on their defense right now. Ohio State's defense has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guys. All right.
That is how many play.
1, 2, 3. 3 of them are fifth-year guys that have been in the program.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4. 5 of them are fourth-year guys that have been in the program. Third is Sonny Styles. He's been there 3 years. Then you have Dawson Igbo Nelson. He's a second-year guy in the transfer. And then you have Caleb Downs, who's a first-year guy in the transfer. So they only have 2 guys on that starting defense. So is this the model that we've been talking about, I know, on the block, about how important it is to have those foundational pieces with just the minimal addition of transfers just to solidify things? What's your take on that?
My take is let's pause 10 seconds for station identification, then we'll get Jay's answer.
There it is.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
I think you're right on, Strick, and really it comes down to if you can get to the point and have you're winning in the now, you're getting the support both from the administration or whoever the powers that be, and then financially within NIL to build your second and third levels of your team that you're developing or your foundation pieces. Then you want to use the transfer portal and also high school recruiting a la carte. And you saw the benefit of it of the Colorado Buffaloes. They were their foundation pieces, obviously Shiloh, Shador, Travis Hunter, and then they started to add some other guys, and then they built up the offense and defensive line. More importantly, you look at it, probably Nick Saban from 3 seasons ago, Georgia, and all these teams, they're able to go pluck a guy. They're able to go identify, we need this type of player. Ohio State did it. When Nick Saban retired, Caleb Downs went into the portal. He literally was to Ohio State within a day or two. The center, right? Mm-hmm. Like a day or two. So they were able to identify certain pieces that you need, and they are able to go get it, and they plug and play. And they obviously have probably recruited them previously because Caleb Downs was a freshman, so I'm sure Ohio State was a close second. Recruited him, obviously watched him play where Caleb Downs was an All-American as a freshman. So they knew exactly what they could do with and for him. And then also, Strick, which is a little bit different than most teams out there, is that, you can't level up from Ohio State. You can't upgrade from Ohio State or the perception of upgrade. And this is what these kids are thinking, right? And it's weird. It's a weird mentality that it's like, I'll work hard enough until I can try to take the easy road, right? So you just follow with me here. So you'll come in, say you redshirt or you play a little bit or you play the 5 or 4 games in the bowl game. And then you start and have a good season and let's just say your team goes 8-4 or even anywhere from 5-7 to 8-4, that in that kind of range, right? And so you are a foundation piece for the huge next step. That means you've came in, established yourself. You went through some trials and tribulations, I'm assuming. And then you came on the other end, and then you started to ascend as a player. Well, then you're like, you know what? Here comes Ohio State. I'll go there and maybe compete for a spot or be a backup. Because that's viewed as the level up. Well, when you're at Ohio State, you're not going to get anything. But you're going to go to Bama? You ain't going to Michigan. You might, but you're going to Michigan. Okay, you're going to go to Georgia? Like, that's where I think kids are really missing it out, because what you have at a place like Nebraska, what you have at a place at like SMU right now because of their financial backing, or like in Arizona State now, where you're going to start to see some big donors. Arizona State really start to come into fruition, is the ability to win, create legacy, all in this transfer portal, in this weird NIL vortex of college football. If you miss out on that opportunity, and then once you're done playing, you're gonna have to just spin the bottle and see where you're gonna go to come back. So if you can get those foundational pieces, you'll be able to shop a la carte. And what do you need? And now Ohio State's the outlier. You generally need a quarterback, some linemen, and like one or two skill guys. Now everything, obviously, because obviously linebacker is always replaceable. But if you got some good guys, but Will Howard has been able to raise his level of play, but also it was a rough start for him as well.
It was. He's playing better. It wasn't perfect against Tennessee, but dropped some dimes yesterday. And Strick brought this point up too. It helps when you have new age Julio Jones. Jeremiah Smith is insane.
Yeah,
he's insane. He's a man-child. And he's not even the clear number one receiver in that class because Ryan Williams exists. What are we doing?
That dude is the clear number one. He's the truth. But you know what makes him the truth? Is a Jigbo over there is the truth. I'm telling you. And you know who else is the truth? Tate.
Yeah.
You got three, like right now, you could take those three dudes and go right to the NFL right now. And you would have 1,000 over 1,200 yard receiver in Smith, probably 900 to, let's say, 850 to 1,000 within Jigba, and Tate would do it. Abuka, excuse me. I get those two mixed up. My bad. And then because I love both of them, right? And then you got Tate, who will be your 450, 425 to 600.
Big play.
Essentially, they're the Bengals. They are the Bengals. When you think about it, Strick, you got Jamar Chase, right? Who's built kind of like Smith, or Smith's probably a little bit taller.
Yeah, Smith is like spot on Julio Jones side.
Right, so you got that over there. And then, heck, okay, fine. We'll do Atlanta Falcons from back in the day. You got Roddy White, or you got Julio Jones, Roddy White, and Douglas. Woo. That's what Tate is. And then now you essentially got Apex, Matt Ryan playing right now with Will Howard. And then you got a defense. Atlanta ain't never had a defense. Ohio State defense is coming with it. So that's just what you're able to do. You're able to do, and you're in this day and age of the transfer portal. If you're able to shop the right way, Oregon benefited from it. You get Bo Nix, you get Gabriel. There's a sneaky rumor out there that some dude that's playing in Burnt Orange is not. What's Texas?
Burnt Orange.
Orange. He might be up there too next year.
You're not sold on Dante Moore after everything you did to bring him home?
I'm just telling you what I heard, man. I mean, I'm just telling you. Would you rather have Quinn Ewers, okay, or Dante Moore and they ain't play the lick?
Man, probably Ewers, but I can't write off Moore.
He can play like Arch. You can play some.
I don't know, man.
All right.
I don't know.
If Quinn Ewers doesn't get the draft grade he wants, where's he going to go?
Whoever pays him $6 million, apparently.
And who's going to do that?
Lane.
He ain't playing.
Lane.
Yeah.
Got to be Lane train.
Yeah.
We'll get out of here. We'll get it to old school. Stricky, Freestyle Friday tomorrow, and a big preview. Nebraska, UCLA coming up on Saturday. Looking forward to it. Let's close out the week strong tomorrow, partner.
Let's do it. See y'all mañana.
That's E. Strick. Don't go anywhere. We got old school coming up next. DP and J. 1 hour with them. Then Coach Mark Manning in for the second hour of old school. Should be fun. Don't go anywhere. Keep it tuned right here on the ticket.